All right, this video is basically part 2 of simplifying radicals. I'm going to show you a few examples of some that are just a little bit more challenging. So for this first example, the square root of 128. All right, if we just start finding the factors by dividing it by 2, let's say we have 2 times 64. Then the 64 could be 2 times 32, and then we just keep going. Let's see, that's 2 times 16, and then 2 times 8, 2 times 4, and then finally we have 2 times 2. Now we're at all prime numbers. So we have to take our pairs. Each time we see 2 of these 2's, remember that they come outside of the radical. So then it would end up looking like 2 times 2 times 2 for all 3 of our pairs, and then inside the radical would be the square root of 2. But out here, we're going to multiply this 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So really, it would end up being 8 times the square root of 2, and that would be your final answer. Now, again, I've said that there are many ways to do this. You do not have to work it out exactly like this. Let me show you another way to have done this one. Or if you had noticed that for the very first one, when you did 2 times 64, some of you might recognize that 64 is a perfect square because it's 8 times 8. Well, that's where you see your 2 8s and you pull that outside of the radical, and it's 8 times the square root of 2 because the 2 is the only one left. Okay, so again, however you need to work it out is fine. Just know that you're trying to get to the final answer here. You multiply everything on the outside of the radical and then leave what's left, which should be your prime numbers, or it's your prime numbers left underneath the radical. Okay, all right, let's take a look at another challenging example. And let's say we have 5 times the square root of 18. All right, well, 5 is already outside the radical. So let's look inside the radical here of the square root of 18, and let's factor that. So 18 would be 2 times 9. And then 9 is 3 times 3. So you can see here we're going to be pulling the 3 outside of the radical. However, we already have 5 outside the radical, so that's 5 times 3. And then what remains inside the radical is just the 2. Well, then we go ahead and multiply 5 times 3, which gives us 15. So then our final answer is 15 times the square root of 2.